Well, welcome to OG's Garage. I started to do a rear bearing job on this '06 Trailblazer, and even though I succeeded in all of that, this is one of the problems that I ran into. It was a busted lock bolt on the cross pin, and I'm going to show you, even though I completed the job, this is one of the problems I ran into, and this is how I fixed it. So I take the little lock bolt off of this pin and realize it's busted. Half of it, or more than half of it, is in the housing here. So I can't slide this pin out as long as that other half of this pin is in there. At this point, I'm really not quite sure what I'm going to do here, but I have to think about this for a second, because this pin that you can see here is not going to come out. That other pin goes all the way through this, and there's no way to. I have to work on this and see what I'm going to do. Think about this. Okay, I tried different things to try and take that pin out, and it just isn't coming out. So the only other alternative I'm going to have is to use my little dremel grinder with a cutting wheel. See if I can cut a slot into that pin to get down into that lock bolt. So here goes nothing. Well, one of the first things I want to do is try and cover as much of this, as much of everything as I can. Try and, especially around the bearing area.
Making probiotics in their state-of-the-art facility in California, producing probiotics that are safe and effective in the entire state. You should see the making difference for yourself. And for a limited time, this is same-day supply of making safe, healthy food, only $39.95, including free shipping and handling. That's a 50% savings off the regular price. We can assure you that this amazing offer has never been made available before. Others promise nation and organization.
Okay, well, what I did was cut a notch with my Dremel into that pin. And I was able to expose the pin. I don't know if you can see that there. Let me get a little closer. Okay, so this is what I did. Took my Dremel, I cut this way, and I cut a notch in there, and then I cut this way, then I cut this way, and I made myself a little notch that you can see. Now I did touch the housing a little bit, but you have to be careful when you're doing this. And as you can see in there,
Learn how you can get genuine OEM toner for your HP business printers for close to the same cost as compatibles. Visit ImageTech on the web at imagetech.com. That's IMTEC.com.
what I did was I got a little tool. I made a little as sharp as I can get it, and then depending, sometimes you can just push those things out And this one here, because it had just a little, you can see that little thread when this thing busted off, that it left a little thread there. Just that one thread prevented me from just sliding this thing out. Just that one little, thread. So what I had to do was get that little pick, make yourself a little tool, and just keep trying to turn that thing and get it out of there. And that's all you can do. If it slides out, you're going to be lucky. Otherwise, you're going to have to pick that thing until it, till you get it out, till you get it out of there. So the only thing I can tell you, another way you could do it is probably drill it. You'll have a little smaller hole to deal with. I didn't even go through one wheel doing this. I only had one little cutting wheel, and if you take your time and don't bust it, you'll be fine. Okay, well, that's all I can tell you for now. Let me get back to you. Yeah, so once you are able to remove that, and this pin should just slide out here. And there you go. Alright, well, I ordered myself a new pin. Obviously, I can't use this one anymore. Unless you're really desperate. Unless you're really desperate, you can, I wouldn't use this again, but if you it's up to you, but I don't think I would, but hey, go for it. Alright, let me get out of here, and this is, like I said, this is your pin. Alright, let me get out of here, and I didn't do too much damage. When you're going to do this, use the smallest cutting wheel you can get, and just go slow. Might do a little damage on this, on the surface, but that's not going to hurt anything there. So, alright. Okay, so here we got got everything out here. I just want to show you what happened here. So this is the pin that was stuck inside this shaft, and what happened was a little lock bolt that was in there. Let me get this. The little lock bolt that was in there. I don't know why I'm getting this thing here to where I want it. Okay, the little lock. This is the pin that busted inside, and what I did was I used the dremel to cut a couple of grooves, one going this way and then two going this way, and one on each side of this pin, and then knocked out that center piece, and I was able to expose the pin. And what had happened was when this pin busted off, it left looks like maybe one half of a thread here on this pin, so I wasn't able to just slide that out. So what I had to do, that's the reason for this. And then once I was able to expose this, I got a little tool and I just turned this until it backed it all the way out of the housing. So you can find a different way. I tried different ways. I tried a magnet. Magnet won't take it. That might be the first thing you might want to do, is use a magnet. And if you don't have this thread left on here, you might be able just to, use a magnet to pull that out. There's really no other real way to do that. You can look online, maybe some guys got some ideas. You can try hammering on that and maybe jar this thing out, and get it out that way. Just keep on hammering it with a hammer, bang, 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 until this thing might, if you tilt it at an angle, it might just slide out. Turn it a little bit, and it might, if you tap on it, it might slide out. Okay, well, that's it. And this is, I'll have to get a new pin. These pins, these bolts here, you can buy at the auto stores. Tell them it's the cross pin. Call it cross pin retainer bolt. I think that's what they call it. The cross pin bolt. This is the cross pin, and this is the retainer bolt. They don't cost much, $4 or $5. Be able to get them. Okay, well, that's it. I wouldn't just a thing. I wouldn't try too many weird things, because you don't want to mess up the thread in that housing where this goes into. So if you're thinking of drilling, be very, very careful, because when you drill it, you're going to mess up those threads in that housing. You're really going to be screwed then. You have to buy that whole housing, or rethread that housing, and then try and find this pin to fit that thread. It's going to be a bear. So be careful if you're drilling. I wouldn't recommend it unless you get a tube or something that you're going to protect those threads. You have to protect those threads in that housing. Okay, so there you go. Oh, by the way, this might take you a good hour to do this, or 2 hours for the whole process. So take your time. Have a few cutting wheels on hand in case they break. So there you go.